What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Thinkware. Their best and latest dash cam, the U1000, is now available. It's able to capture clear and crisp videos of your drive. The U1000 is the very first 2-channel dash cam in the world to boast a native 4K UHD front and 2K QHD rear resolution. In addition to its amazing video quality, the U1000 can also save you money with its speed and red light camera alerts, or make you a safer driver with lane departure and front collision warnings. With the convenient remote live view and parking impact alert cloud features, you can instantly check on your car or be notified of potential hit and runs. The U1000 and Thinkware's full range of dash cams are available online and in-store at thinkware.com, Best Buy, and Amazon in both the US and Canada. With coupon code SMOKE20, that's SMOKE20, SMOKE20, you will get 20% off any regular price Thinkware dash cam. That's SMOKE20 at thinkware.com to redeem that coupon code at checkout. This offer is available in Canada and the US only on their website. Protect yourself with a Thinkware dash cam. And guys, let's talk about watches. When you're buying a luxury watch, especially if you don't have a hookup at a Rolex store, which 99.99% of people don't have, you should be buying your watches secondhand. And when you think about secondhand watches, you want this to be a smooth, painless process. You don't want there to be fraud. You don't want there to be mechanical issues. That's where Crown & Caliber comes in. Crown & Caliber is the ultimate secondhand luxury watch store. They've got over 2,000 watches in stock at any given time from brands like Rolex, Omega, Panerai, Breitling, Bell & Ross, Tag, Cartier, and on and on. And if you want to maybe sell a watch, trade a watch, or buy a watch, they can do all of those things. In fact, they can take your watch on trade and give you credit towards a brand new Breitling from the Breitling store if you wanted to do that. They have a special relationship. I just did a 3-way trade where I got rid of a gold Submariner and a white Explorer 2 and got a brand new AP Royal Oak from Crown & Caliber. That's how I'm consolidating upwards right now. And what I want you to do is go to crownandcaliber.com, find the watch you like, and then use code TST175. That's code TST175 at checkout, and I got $175 for you if you buy a watch from Crown & Caliber. TST175 is that code, folks. Lastly, it's my place. Westside Collector Car Storage is now taking deposits and reservations. We will be open very, very soon. We are LA's newest premier indoor collector car storage and concierge facility with 130 spaces indoors right in the heart of Playa Vista, just north of LAX Airport. We have on-site wash and detail bays. We have a free airport shuttle. We have battery tenders at every single one of our spaces. And we have Southern California's first indoor quad vehicle stacking system, which is both fire and earthquake resistant. It's for the new 2020 codes. Go to westsidecollectorcarstorage.com. It's all written out. Westside Collector Car Storage, or just Google it. We will pop up and see what you are missing when it comes to concierge service for your vehicles. You know what the best thing is? When you're like, oh, I need something done to my car. And you're like, I got a guy for that. I don't have to do anything. I just call the guy, and the guy handles it. That's what I'm going to be. We're going to be your guy for your cars. Westside Collector Car Storage, opening this spring in Los Angeles. Alrighty, folks, on this episode of the show, me, Zack, and Mr. Vinny Russo sit down and catch up, having been traveling about the world. We discussed the construction of the LEGO 911 RSR, and I love building LEGO. It's so fun. And there's a lot going on in Vinny land, and yeah, it's the Smoking Tire Podcast. Here we go.
We'll go to the tight for this.
Let's go to the tight. Yeah. We get a two-shot of this burp.
Two shot of the burp.
And it's vanished. It's gone. It's gone. What up, everybody? Hello. It's the Smoking Tire Podcast. What's happening December 30th? Almost New Year's Eve. Or, yeah, no, New Year's Eve's tomorrow, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
For those of us without calendars, New Year's Eve's tomorrow. It's not that we don't have calendars. It's just that when weekdays and weekends no longer become a thing, you don't know when things are anymore. Hi. What's happening? This is our last podcast of 2019. Is that right?
Of the decade?
How
many New Year's jokes do you want to make in one shot?
Been reading people's tweets about it. Shut up. Fucking care.
It's
The millennia-
It's significant though.
Is it?
Because the first like one of those that the first one of those big milestones that I really remember was 2000, and 2000 really was a big one.
True.
These seem sort of stupid. A decade, who cares?
Well, like, what's the difference between going from 2009 to 10 and 2011 to 12 or 12 to 13? Like
Nothing.
Not a lot.
Nothing.
Not a lot.
But the flip side to that is, okay, so like when did you officially start this podcast?
11,
2012-ish, I think.
Okay, so it
11
was
or
in
12?
this decade.
I guess.
So you could close out this decade saying this was the decade you started your podcast. I mean, think of all the things that you've done in this decade.
You could say those things, but I
could,
feel like
but
it would just be
but they would-
self-sucking.
They would,
That's really what...
yes, I could also
it just-
stretch enough to suck my own dick and achieve exactly the same result.
I mean,
Never go
if you were able to accomplish that in this decade, that's a significant decade. I mean, it just depends on what everybody uses New Year's Eve for something different. Like I'm going to start.
Everyone
working
uses
out.
it for getting laid. Everyone.
No, everyone uses it for... New Year's Eve is the holiday of broken expectation. You go
Right,
out with such
right.
high expectations. You're like, I'm going to go out. It's all be perfect. If you're single, you're going to have sex. If you're in a relationship, you're going to have sex, whatever. And then it just slowly shatters and devolves, and then you're just waiting for Uber. That's what New Year's is.
Have you ever had a New Year's that really exceeded your expectations?
When I
The
worked,
New Year's party we had at the house in Venice that one year was pretty fun.
when I worked at the radio station,
remember
we used to
that.
do a pretty good couple of blowouts, concerts
can't-
and nightclubs, and
That's
it would go all night.
New Year's that exceeded. I mean, the Y2K one.
I was in Times Square for Y2K.
Really?
Oh, Yeah.
geez.
Voluntarily?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Just to say that I was there.
Really?
Yeah.
So we were at this kid John Porzio's house. John Porzio's house later became famous because there was a homicide there that was declined to be prosecuted by someone who later became very famous, the local district attorney named Janine Pirro.
Oh.
Was a fucking cunt. Oh, she's queen cunt. But anyway, at John Porzio's house was going to be the Y2K party, and I had my my minivan at the time, the Mercury Villager, the minivan, right? Took the seats out of the back, mattress, champagne in the back.
All set.
I mean, I had just gotten into college. And so I was 18. I had gotten in college, and so I hadn't smoked weed through all high school. We boxed this van out in the driveway of John Porzio's house for like 4 hours,
So
and then someone shut the main breakers off for the house at midnight, which was
Like a Frankenstein breaker.
yeah, like so we thought it was like Y2K, like fucking house shut down.
that's genius.
Remember?
That's
Yeah,
funny.
so
That's
everyone
very
freaked out,
genius.
which was very funny. And then they turned them back on 5 seconds later. And then one of the parents, because we used to have these parties, real white Jewy shit, where the parents would have the party upstairs with their cocktails, and then the kids would have like a kegger downstairs, and they were quote under supervision, so it was somehow okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But keep an eye
You can
on.
drink, but you
Well,
can't
well,
leave.
oh,
You
you
can't
can't
leave the party.
just junk here.
You got to stay all night.
Where was I going with that? One of the parents got into a fight with one of the kids. And your microphone just drooped. And threw the kid over a couch. It was amazing.
What?
Yeah, that's the only time New Year's ever really
Wow.
exceeded to accept.
I think it's funny that he was in a van with a
Mattress in the back.
mattress
Oh,
in the
yeah.
back. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
foreshadowing of him now
Absolutely.
living in Venice, where everybody has vans with mattresses in it,
Right.
is significant.
You know what I saw last night? I saw
decade.
someone in a smart car, and they had put up curtains like their clothes and stuff. There was someone sleeping in a smart car.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Rock meat bottom.
Or it's David Blaine doing another stunt.
David
He locked himself in a smart car for a month. You can't lay down in that car. It's impossible.
David Blaine couldn't handle it.
Oh my God.
That'd be so rough. I've slept upright.
Sleeping in a smart car? Oh, I thought I'd seen the most depressing person sleeping in car story recently, which was my wife walked by a Prius that had someone sleeping in it, and it had Uber and Lyft stickers on front and back, and it was like, oh
Saving
God, that's bad. That's bad for everybody.
Hustling.
The hustle sucks. The hustle is very shit. Yeah, that's bad. Sleeping in a smart car, that's terrible.
Even if you recline it all the way, it's barely anything. And this pad, they had stuff in the back. So
And if you had to sleep in your car, wouldn't you trade that smart car for basically anything in which a human could extend their body straight?
Yeah. Yeah, folding seats, anything where the seats fold and you can just lay down from the trunk.
Yeah. Ugh. So there's a lot of bad decision making that ended up on the inside of that smart car.
Yeah. Bought it new, watched depreciation.
I'm not going to laugh at a person's misfortune, but that's misfortune combined with very poor decision making to have ended up in that position.
It's rough.
Anyway, hey, if you're with us live, get in the super chat because car news is light today. There's not a lot going on. Me and Vinny was just over. I was slinging a space at the new shop, and we were starting up some of the customer cars down there, as you do once a month to keep things all nicey nice. That went off without a hiccup, thank God.
Did some rotating and some
rotating
shuffling.
to avoid some flat spotting of the tires. And what else is happening in the car world today? Well, I spent my Christmas doing a car thing. Actually, Christmas in LA is really nice. Everyone's gone. So you get a really nice, quiet Christmas. So me and Hannah built this LEGO 911 RSR, which I brought to the studio. And in a promotional thing, I timed myself, and later tonight, or probably tomorrow morning, I think I'm going to post a giveaway of one of these things. And dude, these are really fun because like stuff works. Like this has a working like suspension, front and rear, and like how do I'm pretty sure I can lift the engine cover. I think you can, or maybe not. Or maybe if you try, you break it, like I just did. But like you actually build like the rotating assembly of the engine, like a crankshaft. So like when I'm like moving it, it's connected to a gearbox and like a crankshaft and a valve train. Let me see if I can look underneath. Can you look underneath? Can you see the engine from underneath?
Yeah, you actually can. You can see.
So like if I put it like this and spin can I spin if I spin the wheels? Can you see?
Give it to me. I'll hold it.
So not only can you build, you can actually like
put it in front of Vinny's camera.
It's mildly fragile.
Hold it like a baby.
When you spin it, like you can
harder
actually
to make a new one than a baby though.
You can see the engine.
Here, bring it closer, Vin.
The engine spinning. In this case, what it's spinning is a limited slip differential, which which you've assembled too.
And then through here,
and then
you can actually see connecting rods.
It's pretty rad, actually.
Wow.
So what I found, and this one, and especially the Chiron, the Bugatti Chiron, which I built last year, this thing was like 1,600 pieces. The Chiron was 3,600 pieces, and like the Chiron's more like substantial than this one, but also it has a gearbox and it has an all-wheel drive transfer case. And it's a W16, so the crankshaft and piston is really more complicated and kind of a challenging.
3 times the piston.
There's a lot more going on with the Chiron, and this is a race car, so there's no interior. The Chiron actually has like a full interior too. So
and it had luggage.
It did. It had luggage, had a front trunk. There was more going on with that.
You were saying that the Chiron is part of their Premier series, apparently.
Yeah, so I guess there's levels. The Chiron is like the upgrade one. And that thing's really expensive. The Chiron's like $400, I think, $350 for the Chiron, and then this thing, the 911 RSR, is like $200 or $220 or something like that. And so you get more stuff, but also like the paper that the what do you call it, the manuals are printed on is a little nicer. But this thing was like 500 steps, and me and Hannah developed a really good system. She's really good at we use cupcake cups, those the little paper things that you'd make cupcakes in, and she makes a little assembly line of those, and she pulls up on an iPad the digital manual, and I have the regular book manual, and she just makes an assembly line. So like when I get to the next step, I just pull over a thing, and like here's a little paper cup with all the parts I need in it, and we can smash like that.
Yeah.
But occasionally Hannah will try and be helpful and like build a sub assembly. She'll be like, I made this, and I'm like, what is this? And she's like, it's this thing, and I was like. And she just can't do it. It's like everything has to be disassembled. So she's really good at parts stacking, and I'm good at building.
I bought my cousin's kid one of the easier ones. It was a Farah 40, and it was, I don't know how many pieces it was, maybe like a few hundred. took us about 3 hours, and that's including an 8-year-old being distracted and like playing make believe, which I was trying to be encouraging. He's like, "What if the engine itself could fly?" And I'm like, my brain's going, "Well, that's not how this works. We should get this done. Like, we should put that in there." But I'm like, "Yeah, what if it could do that?"
So by the big difference between the Bugatti and this one, the Bugatti came with parts numbered bags, like open bag 1, then open bag 2, then open bag 3. And so you could sort of, because it took so long to do it, you could stop at a certain point, when you finished a bag. With this one, the parts were not numbered in the bags. So you pretty much had to develop an organizational system where you would lay out all the parts. We were using like muffin tins and shot glasses and like all this stuff with a whole table, which if you don't have 4 cats, this is not a big deal. But if you have 4 cats, you cannot leave this stuff out.
Not your cats, especially.
Well, not 2 kittens, certainly. But and so we had to do it in one sitting because because the bags weren't numbered. It probably took us an hour. Oh, there you go. I was wondering how you lifted that up.
I looked like,
can you see it moving now? Okay, let's check this out, Zach. So you can actually, we can go in here. I'm gonna go away from Mike real quick. But so look,
there it goes.
So that's kind of neat, right?
We're watching the rotating assembly.
Sorry,
that
was silent, but yeah, I was spinning the tires, and you can actually see the rotating engine and the assembly and the differential working, which is pretty cool. It's
very cool.
I don't know. I'm like a visual learner more than I am like reading stuff. Like I can't, like when I look at financials and shit, like I can't read those Excel spreadsheets, but I can read pie charts. Make sense to me. Like same thing with like this. Like I can't read a book about engineering, but if you have me assemble this thing and it's like, oh, here's why this moves this way, and you can spin it and like, oh, so when it stops, it does it just, I learned between this and the Bugatti, I learned a lot about like how differentials work and like why a wonky crankshaft can actually work like that.
It's amazing. Cool. It's amazing how detailed that LEGO can get with all of the technical stuff and make it work. When we were kids, like you'd build a car, it was like a block with 17 different colors, and it like your mom was like, "Yeah, that looks like a car. Sure, great."
Well, they have a lot more shapes now, like just these little rounded edge, like almost ovals with that snap onto the traditional block pieces, and they just have a lot more stuff. I watched this video today.
On the one hand, it's interesting how many cool looking pieces they make. On the other, it's interesting how few unique pieces there are. What I mean is, like, in this specific 911 RSR, not very many of these pieces are specific to this car. Like, you can rearrange it. Like, there's a guy on the internet who has a new set of instructions that from this kit, you can build the Lancia Stratos.
Which is amazing that he figured that out.
You know what I mean? Like, and so, and I a lot of the parts on this appear on the Chiron in different colors or whatever too. Like all of these panels used to make the roof, like all these, like the panel used to make the door and the half panel used to make this are actually the same, and they're also kind of like airplane wings, But you can affix them in different ways.
Yeah, I meant it's interesting that LEGO now has more shapes in their arsenal. I went to the LEGO store in New York City, and they have like these bins where you can just do a grab bag.
Yeah, like the candy stores.
Like candy stores, right? And you can just grab this one has an angle on it. This one's like round, and that's how they make stuff like this. The Chiron, the GTR.
So we've got another one they sent us. It's in a box. We haven't done it yet. It's like a rock crawler, and it's RC. Like it actually has a proper. That's it. Yeah. It's the 4x4, the Technic 4x4 Extreme off-roader, and it's basically looks Bronco-esque, trophy truck-esque, rock crawler-esque,
Monster Jam.
Yeah, it's Monster Jam and King of Hammers.
Yeah. It's a Monster Jam truck with a King of the Hammers style.
You run it off your phone. On an app.
Whoa.
Kind of neat, huh?
Very neat. Wow, that's really cool.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I hope it's tougher than this RSR, because this seems awful fragile for RC. But I mean, I imagine it probably is.
I mean,
right?
it's probably not super fast, but like I think I remember having as a kid, like you'd get like a wired battery pack with like you had a couple of the pieces that were motorized you could do things with, but never like that.
Yeah.
To give you an example of how many new like kind of pieces and things you can do with Lego, I saw this video this morning, and it's a guy that he makes a duck. And it's basically a video that he made it seem like he was cutting Lego like he would wood and carving a duck out of it and painting it, but it's like really cool stop motion
animation. Wow, that's so neat.
So he like quote smooths off the little Lego bumps, and now they're flat, but he's just putting flat pieces on it. But like here, he's chiseling away quote Lego stuff, but it's just switching a flat piece for a rounded piece.
That's very fun.
It's really, really cool.
That is very fun. Good for that guy. I like that. That's very. Oh, I like
the
squirting the glue.
Yeah. It's really
they
like
squirted clear parts and like that's really neat. He's changing color by just like dragging a brush and parts just change color. That's really neat.
Really trippy.
I like that very much.
And that's why this Instagram account is called If You High. I don't know who actually this is, but the original video is by Bricks Brothers Productions.
Oh, Bricks. So they probably make Lego animation, right? Bricks Brothers. That sounds like a Lego animate. Yeah. Two brothers who love follow that dude. I want to watch Bricks Brothers.
Bricks Brothers.
All I see is some mother going, "You're never going to do anything playing with Legos. You're never going to be anywhere." So it's like, now I've got a YouTube channel with 1 million followers and I'm making a ton of money. Mom, shut up.
Very cool. So anyway, shout out to Lego and Lego Technic for sending this over. If you're with us live right now, get on over to my Instagram. Make sure you follow, because I'm going to be giving one of these away, and you're going to be able to do a guessing game of how long it took me and Hannah to build it. If you're not listening to this one live, I've probably already done the giveaway.
All right, so you corrected me earlier about the Lego versus Legos.
It's not Legos.
Yeah,
there's no plural.
There's no plural. Anyway, there's no use. Like, so if I have two Lego pieces, I have to say I have
2 Lego bricks. This was in the brand guide.
I know, that's why I'm at. Like, I think it's kind of neat.
It'd be what it be. It's like Porsche or Kleenex. You got to pronounce it right.
I don't have any Kleenexes.
That's okay. I understand.
I guess you don't.
Whoa, 1989 Batmobile. Shop now. Go to that right now. Hello, Tim Burton Batmobile. Hello, my pretty. That's not Lego Technic. That's like a kid's one, right? It's like a smaller one.
DC Superheroes partnership.
I like that very much.
How many pieces is it?
That's a good one.
3,300 pieces.
3,300 pieces. Wow, that's like
pieces.
Almost as many as the.
That thing's got to be huge.
It's probably pretty big.
Let's see.
That thing's got to be huge.
Yeah, I like that very much. That's very cool, man. Oh wow, the canopy opens, slide open canopy.
The whole interior.
Oh, pull that picture back up. That
pop up machine guns,
bro. Lego, hook it up with the '89 Batman. Let me get one of them in here, dude.
Start the new decade.
That's my favorite Batmobile.
Shut up, Vin.
I know the Tumbler is more functional, but the '89 Batmobile is really my favorite.
It's 23 inches long, so it's 2 feet long. It's only 4 inches high and then 8 inches wide.
23. Wow, 23. It's very cock-like. 23 by 8.
Look at the car.
No, I know. The car is extremely cock-like. That's why it's my favorite one. It's the most, whereas like Batman's like, I really want to drive my dick. Alfred, get me a car that looks like my dick.
Why don't you drive one that just looks like a car? Because I want to drive my dick around town. God.
Alfred,
just like your father.
I like the Alfred Michael Keaton combo the best. I think I'm really a fan of the Michael Keaton Batmans, which have been lost in the canon. The darker Batmans were who played Michael Gough.
Michael
is the yes.
Oh yeah,
he was a great Alfred. He was great. And Michael Keaton was a great Batman, too. He was a fun Batman. The one with Robert Wool in it, that shit was dope.
That movie holds up because Jack Nicholson seems like a psychopath. Like, it's more colorful, just that's the way they did it. But it's definitely crazy.
When was the last time you watched that Batman, the '89 Batman?
5-10 years.
I think I got to rewatch that one. I think it might be. I think it might have held up really, really good.
I wish we could have gotten you a ride in one of the Batman tumblers when the ones that were actually built.
Yeah, the guys who built them things for Gumball.
Yeah.
Could they like drove, right?
Yeah, there were 5 of them they built. LS1s, 44-inch tires in the back.
How do you steer it?
It's got a power steering.
It's got like a steering wheel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they just...
Holy crap.
They just had like a regular steering rack?
No, it was because the two front wheels were split.
Yeah. So how do you? So what do? You steer it from the outside, the like outer mount hubs?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you would just invert it, right? Instead of having you'd have the hubs facing in.
No, if you see on the inside of the wheels, there's nothing there.
I definitely can't play that. There's no, because it's like it looks like they're mounted.
They're mounted kind of like a motorcycle, like a single-sided swing arm motorcycle.
Oh, look, there it is. There's a picture with the wheel turning. Yeah, pull that up. It's very bizarre that could actually steer. So yeah, it looks like they mount it. So they mount it backwards.
Parallel parking would be very hard.
Normally they would, if you had those, the control arms would face out.
Yeah.
In this one, they face in.
Yeah.
That's super weird.
But it doesn't have, at least we can't see it, it doesn't have a like shared like rack and pinion shaft going across between the two wheels like you would, right?
It's like a single-sided swing arm like a motorcycle almost.
Right, but
except those don't turn
But
usually.
where do you think, how do you think they're linked to each other?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be some really funky
paired
steering.
up hydraulic pumps. I bet there's steering assembly behind the little wall there.
Do you think they have separate electric power steering pumps?
I mean, that'd be very smart. I don't know when this was made.
I mean,
holy crap.
I don't know. That's fucking crazy though.
Ooh.
Made by some crazy Russians or something.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up a photo that shows it a little bit more disassembled.
Street legal, huh?
I mean, depending on the country or depending on the state.
Oh wait, look, that has no housing on it. Can you zoom in on that picture? That seems to show some kind of assembly there.
Oh, it won't let me zoom in. That's weird.
Vinny found it. What does that mean? Can you read that? I don't want to look at pictures. It looks. I mean, they figured it out. Obviously, the thing does steer.
There's a trailing arm assembly, and then there's hydraulic actuators.
Hydraulic actuators. Okay.
That run a steering arm.
I wonder if you steer it with a joystick. If it's got hydraulic actuators.
I'm trying to find the interior.
What does the interior look like? Do you think these guys let people take pictures of the inside? That thing is crazy.
Yeah, because Brett had one for sale at Prestige.
Did he really?
Miami, yeah.
What do you want for it? Whoa, is that it?
Like $850.
This might be the movie car. I can't tell.
That could be I don't know. We should probably move on, but that's fucking nuts. If anyone, I'm gonna get a million tweets about how this thing works next week. Thank you. I still think the Michael Keaton Batmobile is cooler. Yes, it looks like a penis, not like a turtle or a beetle.
Most things are better if they look like a penis.
Than a beetle, yes.
And it has a jet engine.
Aston Martins are better than Volkswagen Beetles because they look like penises and not beetles.
This was a very
hypothesis.
I feel like it's a new marketing campaign.
Hypothesis.
Yeah.
It's an ad out of crazy people.
Boxy but good.
Yeah. Jaguar for men that want hand jobs from women they hardly know. Jeff Dunham has an '89 Batmobile.
I think this might be his.
That he drives around. That's got his is a runner. So Jeff Dunham's has an LS engine in the front, but then to get the drive shaft to work from the engine to the rear wheels, it has it makes like a U underneath the cabin. So there's like how many gears? U-joints? Yeah, so like how many gears is that? It's like
at least
it's like a one down, 2, 3, 4, back, up, 4. And out. Yeah, and so he said basically if you use more than like 20% throttle, it'll just grenade the entire drive line. It's pretty much just to like pull it on and off trailers and stuff.
That
for
may
shows.
be the only thing that would shut down your Countach at a Cars and Coffee, though.
Oh, it would. He's a huge Batman nerd, Jeff, too. He's a sweet guy. I see him at Cars and Coffee every once in a while. And I make fun of him because he's got a Batman smart car. Yo, Google Jeff Dunham's Batman. And I talk mad shit to him about it too. It's a smart car, but it's got the fins off of this on it. And I talk mad shit to him at Cars and Coffee about it. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, hasn't anyone told you you're rich and whatever? And he was like, oh, I just have this because my real Batmobile is broken. And I was like, haha. And then the next week he like showed up in this, and I was like,
no way.
Oh, all right. Well, you can drive whatever you want, Jeff. Yeah, wow. Look at that fucking thing. I mean, those fins are hilariously comic. I mean, like comic booky.
They're cool, but when we saw this, it looked like it would go 300 miles an hour. And like it kind of still does. And then the Tumbler doesn't. It looks like it'll drive through concrete, which is what they do with that. Yeah. And I think it has like a cooler function story that they've kind of made up, but they're just very different.
Oh, Vinny's found a diagram of the steering system. So is that basically like a tiller? It is. It's like a tiller. And so you would just have the Is that bar that goes forward in the center? Is that where the rack? I think it's just support. Okay,
hold it up right here.
Yeah, all right. So it actually is kind of like a regular steering rack. It just goes further back into the cabin. It has longer arms.
It just pivots.
The hubs are what make it special.
The hubs are inverted.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, they're inverted, which is kind of neat. Thanks, Vin. That's fucking cool. All right, Batmobiles. We all agree Batmobiles are cool.
And we agree Lego needs to send you one.
I'd like to get one, yeah. So anyway, shout out to Lego for giving me them. See, my wife, for Hannah, Vinny, and Zack know this, but my wife loves doing puzzles, and she will literally sit there and do 1,000 piece, like by herself, no box,
in a day.
She doesn't look at the box. That's her move, is just straight up assembly, no reference photo. But I am colorblind, so I can't do that. It doesn't work for my lifestyle. It's just very frustrating, and I hate my life. And so with the Lego and the Lego Technic, we can do puzzles together, and I can actually participate without wanting to fucking gouge my eyes out because I can't see colors.
Do they have puzzles that are for people that are like red, green, colorblind though?
I don't know.
Only blue and white and something.
Just black and white puzzles.
I've never heard.
That's true.
There are black and white puzzles, yeah, but I've never actually heard of colorblind specific puzzles. We've never seeked them out. And every time we pass a store that sells puzzles, we go in and we very rarely see. What was that? Ravensburger in Paris. That's a review of a puzzle.
And someone said,
finally for the color. Oh, it's a black and white puzzle. It's perfect for colorblind people. It's a gray scene in Paris. It's absolutely perfect for colorblind people. 5 stars.
Isn't Paris called like the city of light or something?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's the city of love.
Yeah. So that anyway, it is cool. Yeah. It's nice when you can do something and color isn't a factor. I'm a fan of that. Vinny, we went to Cars and Coffee last weekend on Saturday, and Vinny drove the Hennessey Goliath, and I didn't realize how small. Like, by the way, that was a nice event, but we definitely went to the wrong place. Like, I heard like that Mulan event
was going off.
Was like completely gone off.
Yeah.
And then Seinfeld was at Malibu, and here we are in like East LA. Like, let's just check this out.
We're at Mulholland Park.
And
hey, what's going on?
We got there, and the coffee truck had bailed, and me and Marco from TLG fucking straight ordered Uber Eats to Cars and Coffee. We got like mad bacon, egg, and cheeses and coffee delivered to us.
Sitting on the tailgate of the Goliath eating breakfast.
Nice. And so the parking lot was real small, and so like I was blocked in, Marco was blocked in, and Vinny rolls up. He's like, "Where do I put this?" And we were all just kind of like, the grass, I guess. And that's pretty much what you do.
It's huge.
I crawled the sidewalk and shot up there.
How much longer is it than I guess Ford?
It's a crew cab Silverado that started out as a short bed, and then they added 30 inches to it. So it's a little bit longer than what a long bed would be attached to a crew cab Silverado. So
that doesn't really do justice how long it actually is. It's fucking huge. Yeah. Like it takes up almost the whole tandem spot at Westside.
Yeah, it does.
Like, you could probably fit a motorcycle behind it, but I have the 2-car tandems nose to tail, and it takes up a whole one.
Yeah, I believe that makes sense.
Like, you actually
fit your garage though.
I mean, it did fit in my garage, but it fit, like, it turns 2 spots into 1 spot.
Yeah. Right.
It can fit height wise. It's 7'4", you said.
Yeah.
Does the turning radius change with 4 wheels in the back? Like,
it's horrible.
Right.
I mean, it's I can still make a normal U-turn. It's bad, but it's. The tricky part about it is remembering you have all of that back there, because you go to like back up into something or turn into something, and you run the risk of clipping something. It's like driving a limo, or a long truck.
Yeah.
You have to compensate and not just swing it wide.
Yeah. I mean, who is the target customer for a 6x6, really?
Honestly, just somebody who.
What kind of folks have ordered these things so far?
Well, here it is parked next to a Mercedes 6x6.
Yeah, it's the
incredible
size. It's enormous.
But it's only a fourth of the price of the Mercedes.
I get it. Yeah. No, I get it. But
the guys that bought it, I mean, he sent one of the Raptor 6x6s. A guy in Japan bought it. Like, I don't know where you're going to put that, but he shoved it in a container and shipped it to Japan.
The Raptor to me makes a little tiny bit more sense. because it is the best. Like if the G-Wagon is the best off-roader that Germany has, right? The Raptor's going to be the best off-roader that we've got of that genre, really. I actually think probably a Gladiator 6x6 would make even more sense.
Yeah.
But
we got a Gladiator 1,000 horsepower coming after
a Gladiator 6x with 1,000 horsepower would be even more stupid, which means it would be more perfect for Hennessy's clientele.
I mean, in theory,
the more dumb the vehicle, the better.
It's just insane that you pull up somewhere like when I took the Raptor 6x6 to Pebble Beach, and like I parked next to a Chiron at a show. Nobody took any pictures of the Bugatti. Like they just wanted to see pictures of. I parked this. After we get done with the show, I parked it at the Venice Beach lot. Every time we looked outside, people were standing next to it taking pictures.
Yeah, because it's
hilarious. For somebody that wants to just literally just own the parking lot anytime you go somewhere, that's who it's for. Well, it's still functional. I mean, it still tows. It does what anything a truck is going to do.
You just need so much room for it.
Yeah.
We can't
It's not a Venice truck.
You can't park it. We can't park it within 300 yards of my house in any direction. No. We can only shuffle it between giant open parking lots and
wow.
We're just leaving it parked there, and they can't tow it, so you're not going to put a boot on it with the 40-inch tires.
Is this the one that went to Japan? The Velociraptor.
No, I think that one they sold out of the dealership in Nashville.
It's so crazy.
I mean, I guess if these were kind of first aimed at the sand dune Middle East market, and I think
the sand dune people.
I fucked up. I caught myself.
No, because actually the sand dune people are a subset of Middle Easterns who.
I'm walking away from this.
They go to sand dunes. They're like our sand dune people. Like they go to Glamis. Yeah. It's the same thing.
They do the Nissan patrols and all that.
Yeah. So those are sand dune people.
Theoretically, if you had 6 drive wheels instead of 4, you're displacing the weight across more tires if you don't add a lot of weight for the six wheels.
It doesn't add a ton of weight.
It would help a little bit.
It does.
To go over sand and stuff, but it looks
look
ridiculous.
At the difference between a treaded vehicle versus a non-treaded vehicle. It's similar. I mean, the 6x6 gives you just that much more traction.
It's
they're crazy.
I mean, I hated them so much. Such a silly thing. I do too. And when I see them driving around the street, I go, "What are you fucking kidding me?"
Somebody somewhere has a video of me leaving that, and the wheels were covered in mud, and I goosed it when we took off, and I know I roasted all 4 tires in the back because I slung mud all over the crowd. Oh. So somebody has a video of it somewhere of me spinning the 4 rear tires on that thing.
It's just the silliest.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to drive one on sand.
It's a big toy
next to a truck.
It's a big toy when you just have to have the baddest of whatever's out there.
You need the biggest toy in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And you don't have one.
It checks that box. It checks that box.
Crazy.
And then some.
But it's just I mean, I guess you did use it to move Tanis's office yesterday, so it does have some practical use. But every time I see you 3-point turning it into a parking space or something, I'm just like, oh God,
it's ridiculous.
This thing is too fucking big. It's just so ridiculous.
So,
and I think because it's the Chevy one, especially, it almost is too normal. The rest, you know what I mean?
Well,
other than the fact that it's huge and has it's not like it's the Raptor has more
the fender flares
shit on it.
The Raptor had the fender flares, had the bumpers. This one was spec'd out. It basically was an almost stock Z71 that we just did everything to. The next one they're building is going to have fender flares with upgraded bumpers. And now that we have King dialed in all the suspension on that, and they redid everything on it, it's functional. I almost feel like the Silverado makes more sense because you're really not going to go off-roading in it. So you're wasting the Raptor with that you're never going to go off-roading it. At least the Silverado.
What is this?
Did you guys see this? This was really interesting. It was a Ford F-250 Super Duty 6x6 that got stuck trying to drive up a driveway.
Why did it get stuck?
Because
wait, I think you're at the wrong. You want to show? You were trying to show it.
It was the drive wheels. They only had it set in front two-wheel drive, and the weight was on the back. Yeah, and it was just the person who was operating it didn't realize what was happening.
They were in the air, pretty much.
Yeah, they were kind of the drive wheels were the middle set, and they just didn't have enough pressure on them because when the car went up the hill, all the way went to the back wheels.
See now on the Hennessey ones, that wouldn't happen because the all 6 the 4 rear are actually functional. So it's full time. All 4 in the back
are full time. Yeah, they would have been fine.
4, so it would have never done that. And then if you go into 4-wheel drive, you're actually
it engages the front. It engages the front,
so you're
right?
6-wheel drive at that point. Yeah.
Oh, so basically, this guy has an extra like trailing axle.
Yeah, I don't think that's functional.
So
maybe
like,
it is. No, it's.
Oh no.
It's,
So I had it backwards. The rearest tires are spinning, but the weight was on the middle set.
Oh.
So if you see, as soon as he gets, I can't show it because it's on YouTube, everybody, but you can really easily, it's on Jalopnik. As soon as he starts to go up, the rear wheels just start to roast because
the weight comes off of it.
The weight comes off.
So that means his middle axle isn't functional to pass through, and so that wouldn't happen on the Hennessey
middle
ones.
axle would have been key.
Yeah, you do need those wheels to be driven. Otherwise, that's really embarrassing.
And
that was the whole trick to that. There's only one guy in the country that makes that axle for that little small guy that used to be he was an engineer for the Army, and he was one of the ones that built the Army axles for that. And then when he retired, he started building these axles for that. So all of the 6x6s that you see in the country that I know of, all the ones the Diesel brothers do and stuff like that, all come from this one same guy out of Florida that builds these the
pass-through differential that
fully
works.
Functional 6x6 axle. Yeah.
Huh. So you just build them like in a tiny little shop somewhere?
Yeah.
Where are they out of?
Auburndale, Florida.
Huh.
Yeah.
What was their shop called?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, okay. All right.
He it wouldn't. He's so busy. Like we have to. I know Hennessey has to pre-order those axles like 6 weeks out. So
really,
yeah.
I mean, they probably take a long. If they're handmade, right?
They're all each one's handmade for each application. Yeah. So he's fully like got plenty of business.
He's keeping that guy busy, probably. Yeah. But excuse me, Mercedes makes their own, right?
Yeah,
that
they
guy's
have,
not.
No,
some guy in Florida's not making
doing
Mercedes.
That because theirs is all like lockered out and stuff. So
well, yeah, it's an imported port axles. Can you? Is there a locking diff on those Hennessey 6x?
The one final drive rear one is locking, and then the other one's got a limited slip in the middle, so it's all still fully functional.
No, I just didn't know because you can lock the center in a G-Wagon, but it doesn't. That's not the same as
because the 4-wheel drive system would still work like a Silverado, so you could you put in 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and go from there. And so essentially all it's doing is the 2 rear axles are just mimicking each other.
Yeah.
So whatever you'd want it to do, that's what it would do.
Yeah.
It's pretty
neat.
Cool. It's pretty cool.
Let's go to the people for a minute, and I'm sure they'll give us some direction. Because I honestly, since we recorded last, I've done a lot of bullshit like build Lego at my house, and I'm not driven much, other than. And we talked about the Aston getting fixed, which seems to have worked out nicely.
Can I give a shout out to Craig Morrison and his dad over at Art Morrison Chassis?
Bro, we did for those long time OG Smoking Tire viewers. We drove their Corvette back in the day.
Yeah.
Which sold
That car was amazing.
Jackson, I believe.
That was the most ridiculous thing because that was so early in like the TST game and my experience to cars, and it was just like this carbon C1 Vet, and you're just doing burnouts across a parking lot. I was like, this is a thing?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Pro touring build. That car was batshit.
Probably the nicest like car family in the whole industry.
Yeah.
Those guys, him and his dad. So he was he gave me some of his salmon, and I made a dinner out of it that he's freshly caught salmon. But their shop is amazing. I mean, people don't normally think about chassis. You know, it's just not something I'm going to do brakes, I'm going to do supercharger, I'm going to do this and that. But if you're doing a build and you need to redo your chassis into something more modern, it's astounding what those guys have accomplished there.
No, Morrison makes their chassis for Icon, for a ton of people.
It's so funny. He's got a Jonathan Ward section in the shop there that they have a specific chassis area that's strictly just for the Icon trucks. They were doing a Bronco.
I woke up in Spring Mountain, and God, we did this thing. Tom made me walk backwards to make it extra dreamy, and they let me fucking drive this thing. It was great fun. I actually fit in this car amazingly.
It drove really well, didn't it?
It drove awesome. It had like brand new steering in it, and really good brakes, and
so Art's dad used to drag race. That's the story that Craig was telling me. His dad used to drag race, and Specialized. He had this one truck that it was a pickup truck, Volkswagen pickup truck, like a transporter pickup truck that he used to do wheel stands down the quarter mile.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
these guys are crazy.
Craig found a cab and is going to be rebuilding it for their 40th, 50th anniversary, something like that. I can't remember what it is, but they're for next year at the end of 2020, he's going to rebuild his dad's old race truck that used to do wheel stands, which is pretty insane.
That's awesome. Yeah. There's that thing called the backup pickup. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's I don't know if Galpin still has it, but they had pictures of it. And whoa, look at that wheel stand there. Is that it?
It looks like that.
The Chuck Wagon.
This is Chuck Pool. Similar idea. These guys were so cool. They just go to drag strips and just do quarter-mile wheelies, just dragging something.
Red, white, and blue. But
have you Googled the backup pickup, which is basically that, but they reverse it. So it does that in reverse. It's it's a very funny visual. Look at that. Look at that shit.
That's so
the
dope.
top right picture is a good one. So look where the guy's facing. He's facing out the back window, and there's one, where your mouse is hovering. Look, he's like hanging out, and he's hanging out the window.
This is so genius because someone was building like wheelie trucks, and they're like, "Well, it's hard to move the weight to the back because the engine's in the front." And this guy was like, "What if you just turn the seat around?" And they're like, and then 2 weeks later, he shows up. And he's like, "I'm serious." It's amazing.
He's got to have a window in the bed that he can see through when he's driving, or does he just stick his head out the side?
I think you can actually see the side pipe. So I think the engine was moved to like the middle of the bed.
They spin it out. The engine's in the bed.
Yeah.
And then it comes out the other way, and they turn the cab around. Oh, that picture on the left, it looks like Galpin's showroom, one up from there. I think the backup pickup is at Galpin Ford.
So good.
Oh, it says Galpin Ford on it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sponsored.
Oh, wait, is the engine in the bed? It is, right?
Yeah, you can see velocity stacks just right there. It's probably for weight balance. And then also the driver is sitting where the engine kind of used to be. I don't know.
Well, it's like that. Did you see the race car where they took the Camaro upside down and then raced it?
Oh, yeah, Speedy Cop.
Speedy Cop.
Yeah. We could do a whole show on fucking Speedy Cop builds. He has an open invite. I've talked to him. He has an open invite when he comes to LA, but he lives in like the DC area or like Baltimore or like somewhere far away. He doesn't live near here. But back up. I recommend building a pickup truck into a reverse drag strip.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What do the people have to say, Zach?
Happy holidays to everybody. Okay, he's got a Porsche question. 9971 GT3 RS.
Hugely surprised.
This is a which would you buy with your own money for yourself? 9971 GT3 RS, 9972 GT3 RS, 9971 GT2, or 991 GT3.
My bank account says 9972 RS followed by 9912 Touring.
Yeah.
The 997 GT2s are very rare. If you can get one, it's a good investment because they don't come up very often. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're rad, but it's just not my favorite flavor.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the GT2s a lot of times feel just like turbos until you start to drive them in a way that gets scary.
Yeah, and the level of scary is so high in those cars. Yeah. The sound is really different. When we were filming them at Road America, there was a press launch, and they were following Hurley Haywood, who was driving a GT3 RS, and you hear that go like, and then behind it was just,
You know, it's the air moving noise.
Not as interesting.
I agree.
Hear.
I mean, they're rad. They're good investments and they're good cars. But I would go 9972 RS is the top of my modern Porsche list.
What can be done about people driving slowly in the left lane? He wants PSAs on every TV every day, letting them know.
I mean, you can do that.
It's coming around. I mean, there's laws being passed in different states here and there that are make it illegal. I mean, Florida passed a law.
I think Vermont too.
If you're driving, I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something. Like if you're driving, I think it's 10 or 15 miles an hour under the speed limit in the left lane, you can get ticketed for it.
Under the speed limit. I mean, that's something, but
it's something.
It's more about someone who drives 3 over the speed limit, and the general accepted consensus is that 15 or 20 is,
It's just it would just take time.
Keep right except to pass signage.
Yeah. Put a sticker on your car. That'll help. More
rigorous testing. We need more rigorous testing.
Training.
We need to adopt Germany training standards in this country.
We can't handle roundabouts around here. So
roundabouts. I read a study that said roundabouts would be very good for the environment.
Yeah. Yep. Less stop start for sure. We would get used to them. The problem is that every city has one roundabout and everyone comes to a stop.
We would get used to them.
No, I think
the majority of the people.
No, people would eventually. They figured them out in Europe, but it would. There needs to be more than one a month in your daily lifestyle.
Yeah, because there's a roundabout in Pasadena, but it has stop signs at it.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
People drive it. Okay, this person's mad because people drive at night with the lights off, and it's getting worse. Mostly Nissan and Honda. DRLs do not include taillights. Very good point.
Yeah.
I see a lot of cars in LA driving with marker lights on.
Yeah.
Because the city's so lit up, but also the DRLs with no rear tails because they're like, my lights are on.
There's a lot of cars that have DRLs but don't have automatic headlights. And the DRLs are just bright enough that when you turn the car on and you see something reflected on the car that's parked next to you, you go, oh, my headlights are on.
Yep.
You know, but then you find out later, they're like, oh, shit, they're actually not. But the city is kind of bright enough that it doesn't matter until you get on the highway and you go, what the fuck? Oh.
Nobody is purposely driving around without headlights on.
True.
You know, it's the car. They think all lights are on, so it's good to go.
I was kind of anti DRL everything. I was like, why can't you just turn your lights on? But seeing cars on the highway with no rear tails on, like, if all lights went automatic or newish cars and that's just it, fine, because it's really dangerous.
But I agree. I think it's sketchy, but I don't think that's the kind of thing that people are like willfully doing. I just think, I think it's just a general state of obliviousness that sucks. But you know what I mean? Especially, I don't know, in this city. I think in LA you have, or in New York you have anger, and LA you have obliviousness.
Which state in the union would be known as the state of obliviousness? It's like the peach state.
That's LA. My super is calling me right now. Hang on a second, Ricky. I need to take this because it's very important. So if you guys hold people for just 1 second. Hey Rick, what's up?
Dun, 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 dun.
So
it's like intermission on Offspring. So, how's your wagon? Sweet diesel,
very scrapey.
Wagon. Very scrapey. Is that because you lowered it too much to be awesome and you live in Los Angeles?
It looks awesome.
Did you put a front lip on it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's new too.
Yeah.
Your wagon looks really good.
It looks so dope. It's completely
looks
not
great,
functional.
and that's what a car is for. You bought, Vinny, I like you so much, and you bought such a great functional car, and then you made it non-functional.
I'm gonna raise it back up a little bit. I think
this is Vinny's car.
Yeah.
What year is this?
16.
2016 328D BMW 328D white. It's got a storage box on top to reduce raise aerodynamic drag. Lowered it, added a front lip. It looks really good.
Common 3-piece wheels. Those are the only set for the F30 ever made. I had to have those. They were for your car. They were for an E46, and I had to have them custom modified to fit an F30 or an F31 technically.
You're taking wheels away from E46 owners. I was going to buy them.
I like the Hammond's, the vintage look on it, and since it was the only one.
This is a really good looking wagon. Little yellow fogs. I like the way this design is. The headlights are
very, very lightly tinted with a protector, and I just had the windshield done with the Plex from Protective Film Solutions down in Orange County. So no, it's a great daily, but for me, like, the first thing is like, I gotta lower it, and it's just what I'm used to, and so I think I'm either gonna change the wheels to something that's got a little bit more rubber to it, because factory 18s are better. Those are 19s, and they look great, but it needs a little bit more rubber. It needs a little bit more give, and I'm just afraid if I raise it up, it's not gonna look right. The stance isn't gonna be right.
Yeah, I mean, the stance is perfect visually, and on smooth highways it would be great. But
the other thing I need to do is swap out, because right now I only have H&R springs in there with the factory shocks. I need to just do KWs, and that way I can help with the bound and rebound, and I can set the ride height exactly where I want it to be. It'll be a little bit better. So, but yeah, it's a great car. I still, with that box, I drove to Utah, Salt Lake City, and back with the box lowered as it sits like that, averaged at allegedly 89 miles an hour. There and back, and still got 33 miles per gallon.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's a good car.
Yeah.
So, and I have not done any mods because this is a California car.
I was just making fun of him because he took a very functional car and he made it less functional.
Matt hates it too.
The fucking front lip scrapes on everything. Yeah. He just needs to raise it an inch and a half, and then it's fine.
That's how I got to put KWs on.
Yeah. It's got to be a little higher. Other than that, it's fine. It's the scraping. The rest of it is like.
It sounds so bad.
But it's a nice car.
Yeah. It's a very nice car.
It's got good seats.
Inside's nice. It's comfortable.
Yeah, it's got good seats. And it's got rear heated seats too, which Hannah likes a lot too. That's a good move.
So you're back.
Huh?
So you're back.
Yeah, sorry. When Svader calls, I gotta go. I gotta do.
We filled in the gaps.
Literally, he called because a random just showed up at the site in an R8 and was like, I'd like to store my car here. And Rick was like, I don't even really know what to do. So
now you have a protocol for that.
I got to go meet him. I got to go meet him later. He's a guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, a guy from out. This is a typical guy from out of town who's going to be coming to LA frequently over the next year, and decided, like, if I'm coming down here, like, why am I not just leaving my sports car here?
Hell yeah.
And so that we're getting a lot of that. People from out of town who come to LA frequently and want to leave a sports car in LA, which I'm happy to do because we're right by LAX, so we offer at West Side the perfect setup for that kind of thing. What else you got, sir?
All right, Martin Castonguay says, what were the best innovations of this year from manufacturers? We should stretch it to decade, I think. And then what do you think were the biggest failures? Any 2020 predictions for tech?
That's a really good question.
It is a good
Innovations
question.
this year from manufacturers?
I think we should stretch it.
Have there been any for what?
For a decade.
Electric cars.
I mean, it's hard to argue with the performance electric, the performance EV. I think is a good thing for sure. Building hybrids that don't suck. The fact that, saving the hybrid from sucking.
Yeah.
The more seamless integration of the two systems has really improved from like Gen 1, 2 Prius, and now it's really almost imperceptible in a lot of cars.
Also using it for Porsche 918 and LaFerrari and the performance oriented hybrid, I think is very good.
The torque fill.
That was the
really
pitch that they gave us with the LaFerrari is, we're using this technology now and it's going to trickle down into our cars. And we're like, yeah, okay, sure it is, whatever. And it did.
Yeah.
KERS and everything else is all somewhat functional in one form or another. So I think as far as decade goes, just the electric car is probably the biggest innovation. Next year.
And also, I think the proliferate, like in the last 10 years, I think the difference in usability every day from a 2008-9 Ferrari 430 to a 2019 Ferrari 488, or if it's 19 F8, the F8, whatever the new one is, the usability, the jump in sports car usability and the expectation of usability is very high. You can't really sell a car anymore that someone couldn't conceivably daily drive.
Yeah, a lot of that is probably due to mag ride and just suspension advancement in general, because it's made
gearboxes, dual clutch gearboxes too, smoother gearboxes.
That's true. Yeah, those have gotten way better. Everything's just gotten smoother, and like systems from luxury cars have been integrated into performance cars and vice versa. So you end up with things that are comfortable and fast as fuck, and they turn. How do you make your latkes? Are they potato or ricotta? Do people
ricotta
do that?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. My latkes are bomb as fuck.
They're literally the best I've ever had in my life.
It's very simple actually. I got it from my grandmother. All you do is you shred potatoes on a big grater. You grate potatoes. You grate onions. It's like probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 potatoes to 1 onion. It's heavy on the potato versus the onion. Thank you, Zack, for this visual aid of what a potato is. If you've never heard of a potato, it looks like this.
This is a potato.
Yeah.
Is it potato?
So say whatever you want.
If it's only singular.
If you've never heard of a latke is a Jewish pancake. It's like a Jewish hash brown. You eat it for...
So much better than hash browns. I went to breakfast the other day, and it's like, why are hash browns always mushy and uncooked in the middle? They act like the browning on the edges is fine.
No,
it's ridiculous.
It's so much better. So you shred. The key to a crispy latke or a hash brown is once you shred the onion and the potato, you get it in a strainer basket, and then you squeeze the shit out of it, and you get all that liquid out of there. You want those things pretty dry, not dried out like you left them out overnight, but you want the moisture out of it. And then you just add some egg, a little bit of egg, probably 2 eggs. You add some matzah meal, or some matzah meal is basically breadcrumbs but made of matzah, or you can add panko breadcrumbs. You can even add regular breadcrumbs to taste, salt and pepper. Mix it all up, make like clumps of it, and then fry that shit both sides.
How deep is the oil you fried in? Because your latkes
not
are
super
like
deep.
Burgers.
My latkes
They're
are
like
thick
half
like
covered.
burgers, so it's like probably like an inch of oil.
They're the best hash browns you'll ever have.
There's an image on my Instagram of my latkes, which you can see what a finished. They're kind of like bird's nesty. That's how they look. And then you can fuck with an applesauce, or you can fuck with a sour cream, or my special blend is like 70-30 sour cream applesauce with a bunch of paprika in them as well. So that's how I fuck with my latkes. And I don't know about this ricotta business.
I don't know how that would work.
I don't know how that works, but my latkes are the jam.
All right. Nick D'Amico says SV650 as a beginner bike.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the best.
It's good. Yeah.
The Suzuki SV650 is a wonderful bike. It's the first and only motorcycle I've ever owned. Real motorcycle. Yeah. People keep getting him up in my comments on my Instagram whenever I post anything about my scooter, like trying to tell me that I should be having a real motorcycle, as if I'm not aware of the existence of real motorcycles, and then consciously got a scooter.
You should troll back and be like, what's a motorcycle? What do you mean it has multiple gears?
That would be the better way to deal with that, actually, than the way I have dealt with it.
I can get this thing bigger and faster?
That's
really?
crazy.
That's
when?
insane.
Wow.
Fucking Nick Bustos, my trainer, is supposed to be buying this motorcycle. He's coming over to train today at 5. Like, I hope he comes over with some cash to take this thing, because like I'm really itching for this Vespa 300. I'm really itching for it. I'd like to go, because like it's on top of being faster. The 300's physically a little bigger, which means that Hannah and I could ride on it comfortably together.
Yeah.
Hannah could get on the back of mine in an emergency, but it wouldn't be comfortable.
Which color are you looking at here that I should pull up?
I don't know about the color. Pick a color. I like the gray. I like the red. I think the blues are good.
I like the blue.
Definitely not
the tan
black.
seat's nice.
I can't. I'm not one of those people that wears black frequently on motorcycles. I like to wear visible colors. Yeah. There's a great red, like a Ferrari red, that that Italian great red.
The white.
So that's the 300 is where it's at. I'm wondering whether I should, like, I think they have probably really good financing. You can probably finance it for like 1% or something. Or buy a used one.
That's kind of pistachio. I would not.
And the other one's like
I'd
a
avoid
navy.
that.
I don't like
that.
I don't fuck
not
with
bad.
the pistachio. I remember I borrowed that pistachio one from that dude John.
It's not good. That's not good.
He had the special edition one that was not just pistachio. It had like the King Ranch leather
carbon brakes
on it too.
No, I'm just kidding.
23.8 horsepower though at 8250 RPM. 8250. That's a good amount of revs. Good amount of revs for a little single.
It is.
Yeah. I
sat on the back of Corey Burns' Aprilia for about 300 feet just to move. I was taking video for him, and he just drove me back to the car. And I was like, "This is not for me." Sitting on the back of like a race bike like that, all high in the air. I feel like I was sitting on a ladder.
Yeah. No. Remember when I got on the back?
Did you stick your ass out so you could see your thong sticking out?
Yes, as usual. Yeah. He's like, "Dude, you're holding me too tight." I'm like, "Dude, I don't care. I'm staying on this thing." Like, even though we're going straight.
That's awesome.
It was not for me. All right. Stu Dog says, "What are your thoughts on people rebadging Chevy SS's, G8s, and GTOs as a Holden? Tacky or unique and cool?"
I mean,
do what you want, but we all know it's not a Holden. I don't know.
I mean, if you're doing the full Holden like nose conversion, like
then it makes sense.
That's okay.
I mean, that's no different than the guys doing their Acuras and swapping out Honda badges for the Acuras and make it look JDM style.
The Jetta Squad used to swap out for Bora. And
yeah.
You
ever see a G35 with Skyline badging on it?
Yeah. That's a big stretch.
If it's just the badging, it's lame. If you're actually going to get the Holden wheels, and you're going to get the Holden grills, and you're going to get the Holden all the different pieces, and actually make it, then
it essentially is a Holden.
Yeah. There's a guy building Utes. There's a guy who will take your G8 and import a Holden Ute body and put that shit on there.
Wow, that's fun.
And we saw at Radwood, Sean Morris, our friend from Top Rank Importers, where I got the Delica and my old Skyline. He has decided to do something very smart and import Holden Utes as well. It's like just straight from Australia and Fords. So if you want a Ute, you can call Sean, and you can get them from 1994 right now. So he drove one to Radwood. Who was that guy? The conversion guy? Left Hand Drive was called?
Left Hand Ute.
LeftHandUtes.com?
LeftHandUtes.com.
Yeah, there you go. 2010 HSV Maloo. So you just bought a Pontiac G8, and he imports the body panels and stuff from Australia, which is legal, and you just build yourself a left-hand drive U.S. market Ute. I'm sure there's certain states that you can't register that, but I'm sure there's also plenty where you can.
It may not be on his website at all.
Is it not there?
No.
Oh, well, maybe he sold it.
But if you go to Sean's site just is like, hey, do you wish you had more money? Because we have everything that you would buy. The top 12. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yes, I'd buy all
RX-7.
All of them.
So
RX-7s are coming up. That was on the Haggerty bull list this past year, and all Skyline GTRs are up as well, which is good.
Nice Sylvia. Oh, I like that a lot. Musto has a neighbor that has had an FD RX-7 for like 5 years, and every year Musto would be like, what do you want for that? And the guy would go, nope, because he just knew. He wouldn't drive it very much. He just knows.
Yep.
My buddy out of Tampa picked one up, a silver with red interior. Guy came in, original owner. He had just he did a motor in it. He was getting ready to do a second transmission, and he's like, you know what? I don't think I want. He ended up buying this thing for like $4,000. Had 200,000 miles from the original owner, and he was a rotary guy, my buddy Lewis, and he went through the whole motor, got everything up and running great, and he dailies it. But it's the only RX I've ever seen with over 200,000 miles. It's an FD.
Wow.
Silver red, gorgeous, and he bought it super cheap off this guy. I think he was a chiropractor or something. Just was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm gonna get something else. I think I put 200,000 miles on an FD.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So.
What else?
All right. Brady Nearguard says, you mentioned to not change the suspension on Fiesta STs. Does that mean you wouldn't buy KW coilovers, or you just wouldn't buy additional supports?
Well, KWs and other things are a big difference. If you're putting KWs in your car.
Look, KW makes a high quality part. I'm nothing against any, but like, I've driven multiple Fiesta STs that had suspension. They were all worse. All of them.
As a driving experience and an enjoyable experience.
Yeah,
right?
like you might pull 0.1 G more in the skid pad, like you might get a little faster on the racetrack, but like it gets stiffer or bouncier or lowered and rubs or whatever. Like the stock suspension in that car, like having some body roll is good. Lifting a wheel in the air is good. Like those are things that like that car is good. It's good to do that. Like having some suspension travel and being able to use that to kind of bounce the car and to use the travel to help it turn is good. And so it's just my personal preference. But like if you wanted a set of KWs, I would get them as close to the stock, because it's a higher quality shock, obviously, than the car comes with. So a more precise control is good, but you don't want to give it less travel. You don't want to make it too much stiffer. Like Thad got the poly bushings on the Fiesta ST, and I don't think that helped at all. I just think it made it creakier and stiffer. And I wouldn't have done that stuff.
I think
again.
like in any other modification you're going to do to your car, like what do you want to do with it? I mean, just because you put KWs on your car doesn't mean you have to slam them. So I mean, there are some applications that KW you can raise the car an inch higher than stock depending on where you want the wheel travel to be. So whether you're doing performance mods for the engine or suspension mods, like ultimately, what are you doing with the car? And is changing your suspension going to help what your end result is supposed to be?
And also be wary of the honeymoon phase. Like when we do, one takes, if you drive a car that, if you own a Fiesta ST that's stock, and then you drive one that it has suspension, all of a sudden it feels super tight and it corners like a laser, and you're like, oh man, this is great. It's like, well, for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, because it's different. Right. And on that road, it might be great.
Then you go to
drive it again and again.
Pothole that is by your house that your car has no problem with, and oh shit, this thing's about to rattle itself to pieces right there. Or like, going into a driveway, this thing creaks and it sounds like a spring is about to shoot off the bottom of it. Like maybe that's not a desired outcome. Yeah, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So like,
people don't give enough credit to factory engineers, and
lot.
Marco was talking about it with the airbox situation with the Porsches. That a lot of times in aftermarket intake, you're going to rob power or drivability. I mean, you think of the amount of time that Porsche's engineers spend on an airbox. Do you think that if there was an extra 3 or 4 horsepower they couldn't extract out of it, they're not going to put that there? And you're going to put a cone filter on your 911 and get 20 horsepower out of it?
Well, there is some obvious concessions made for fuel economy and for noise and for stuff like that, but Sean, to go back to Sean at Top Rank, he was like the guy he wrote this guide that's like, so you have a R32, it has 320 horsepower or whatever from the factory, so you want 400, this is what you do. So you want 500, this is what you do. And you don't change the stock airbox until you're going for like 700 horsepower. He's had Skylines that have run in the low 10s on the stock airbox. And I've heard the same thing about Fox body Mustangs.
Sure.
First thing everybody does with a Fox body Mustang is throw the stock airbox away.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The stock airbox goes into a cold
fender.
Yeah. And your fucking cone is next to your header, you asshole.
Yeah. If you want to do a drop in like a green filter or K&N, that's one thing, but
but anyway, to go back to the person. Oh, there it is. There's the Holden Ute, top right.
Yeah.
Top right, 1994 Holden Ute.
Wow, that looks so different than the one. I mean, of course it does.
It's a 94.
It's just got that round kind of.
Get a picture. Is there a picture of the interior? If there isn't, I can tell you why. It's because the interior looks like a fucking like a Greyhound bus from '94.
What was that based off of?
Like my Safari interior, but with no sense of irony at all. Is what the interior looks like.
Yeah, what is the basis of this in '94?
What? A Holden Commodore.
It was its own.
It's the same
chassis.
thing. It's
94 would have been Camaro.
It's the Commodore. No, it's a fucking Commodore. The U.S. cars are based on the Australian cars. The Commodores came first. Yeah. It's a Holden Commodore. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's got to be
quite a shape.
Drive, though.
Yeah. That is quite a shape.
Yeah. It's not a good. I mean, I really respect that Sean is bringing over cars from Australia, but he really picked a low point in the year.
They got a lot better looking, but this kind of looks like a Mazda like 323 that they chopped the back off of.
Yeah, or like a Chevy Lumina. Mm-hmm. Really, right?
It's just so narrow.
94 is not a high water mark for Utes, but I think it will get better.
When you want to show up your neighbor's Subaru Brat, there you go.
All right. He drove it to Radwood. He said it's pretty fun to drive.
Oh, I bet. Very well, man.
Sorry, where were we?
All right. Someone is looking at used F-150s. This is Greg Howard. He could get into a higher spec last gen or a current gen lower spec. In general, with everything being equal and not counting buying new, would y'all go for a newer, lower spec car or an older, higher spec car?
Service history on the older one would be the big factor there, honestly. I mean, if you're going to daily an F-150, I mean, I always tend to be higher spec. If you can get a sunroof, I want a sunroof. If you get a limited edition package, I want that just for resale later on down the road. But with something like that, it's really going to come down to if they're both equal in service history and condition, I would honestly go with the older, higher spec, unless the newer one had some specific accessory or technology, like Apple CarPlay on the newer one, and the older one probably doesn't have it.
My dad just got kind of hosed on that. Yeah, I mean, he's not the most astute car buyer. He's just sort of like that one, you know what I mean? and he'll cop to that. Yeah. But he bought a Ute. He bought a leftover 17 Toyota Highlander, like from off a dealer for their vacation house, and because the second to last of the RXs is gone, and there's one left. And
can we get dibs on that,
dude? It's actually my least favorite of all of them.
I know,
but the point is, it's identical to the 18 in every way, except it doesn't have CarPlay, and it's actually not even compatible for the upgrade. And so it was sort of like wah wah. And so to the person's question, I would, like you said, CarPlay is a big one, but there may be some tech that the new one has that you really find is important.
Like anybody. All the questions that we get about buying cars, like the one thing, it's you have to spend time with the cars. If you find one that you like, take it home, take it to your grocery store, try and park it, spend some time with it, because there may be, besides the technology, there may be a certain place that your cup holder sits, or the seats may be shaped differently, and you end up seats are a big factor for when you buy a car.
For me, it's hard to buy a used car because I'm buying the seat that has been shaped by an unknown ass.
Right.
And someone could say the same thing about me. I'm 260 pounds, so I'm going to deform a seat more than if I was a tiny little Asian guy or a woman. Or okay, fine, that's a fair assessment. But that's a fair. But I have a bad back, and so if I buy a car that has a slightly deformed seat, my Mercedes SL that I sold, for instance, or the $1 million mile Lexus. Nobody reported to me after driving that car that those seats were problems. They didn't feel it, but because the left side I bought it like this. The left side was ever so slightly lower than the right. It causes a condition where my hips tilt to the side, and it becomes very painful after
we talked about that with
the
Delica, because you don't get that because it's on the other side.
It does happen, but it happens the other way.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting for that reason. And so that's the problem with any used car, especially maybe a used pickup truck. You had to compare your own ass versus the ass.
And
of the person
that's what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, you need to spend, these dealerships want you to go in and spend 5 minutes. You drive around the block. Hey, okay, now let's get into a 5-year car loan on it. It's like, if you can get the dealership to let you take it home, or at least let you pick it up in the morning and take it for the day, and then listen, if you got to take a half a day off work because you want to drive the truck around or the car on that you're going to buy and spend the next 5 years of your life with, it's an investment. You have to be able to do that. I mean, some people don't care, but if you're writing in on to us and you're asking us, spend time with it before you commit to 5 years, because you could be really unhappy with it.
That happened to me with my Focus RS.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it based on excitement.
Yeah.
And based on my expectations of what I was told versus the Fiesta ST. I drove it around the block a couple times and I went, well, okay, this is the thing that I ordered.
Yeah.
And that was it. Had I gone on the press launch and spent 3 or 4 hours in the car, had I gotten one as a pre-production demo and spent a week with it, I would have said, oh my God, this seating position is absolutely undoable. Refund my money and cancel my order. Yeah. And I would have not given Ford credit. No, excuse me, not Ford Credit, U.S. Bank, because Ford Credit won't lease RS cars. $22,000 over
3 years,
36 months.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Spend time with the cars before you buy them, guys.
If you can.
And I would say do some research on if there were any failures with the older version and now they fixed something.
Yeah.
And also vice versa. If the new parts, people are going, oh, these are made of plastic, not metal, and they're known for failing. And if there are no real changes, you can remove the factors that will push you in one direction or another.
Yeah.
So if you can go, oh, they both have the same engine, so that's kind of a wash. Then you can go down to what car do you want to spend more time in. It kills
me how people will research the ingredients of a hamburger before they go and decide what restaurant they're going to go to, but then they walk in to try and buy a car, like they're picking out a candy bar, and it's like,
it's a great point.
Spend your time, man. Spend some time with it.
Toon Squad just threw us some money and says #1 fan. Thank you very much, Toon Squad. Wiley's says, what are the best of these three as an off-road or snow beater? A 1990 Jeep Cherokee XJ 2-door with a 3-inch lift, 4x4 and a 5-speed. A 96 F-150 regular cab short bed 4x4 302 with a 5-speed. Or a 2000 F-250 crew cab with V10 and a 5-speed.
I don't think any of those would be better or worse than the others for snow. I think maybe the Jeep would probably be the best at all of them. I can tell you that V10 engine in the 250 could not be a bigger steaming hunk of shit.
So it is.
Every RV we've ever rented has that engine in it, and it is a fucking anchor piece of trash.
It's loud
garbage.
And slow. There's vibration. The gas mileage is terrible.
Yeah.
all of it.
It's like a 200 horsepower V10. It's like a terrible engine.
It is not the Audi V10.
No.
I'm curious why a 5-speed for all the off-road and snow. I mean, I would think a manual 5-speed. I wouldn't want that in the snow, but
maybe.
I would say if you're getting like a 1990 Jeep, if I'm going down a hill in the snow, I'd rather manually downshift.
Yeah.
The automatics back then, and the automatics in those Jeeps were just bad. Like
3-speed.
I think they were 3-speed with overdrive.
Yeah.
And they just feel like crap.
I guess I see snow and I think ice, and snow, really, if you're comparing snow and off-road, like it's mud versus snow, then you're really off-roading, and manual is probably not bad.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, any pickup truck is worse in loose surface because there's so much less weight over the back.
Yeah.
Even, a Cherokee will have better weight distribution, so I think all around that would be my choice, or the F-150 with the 302.
Yeah.
Cool. 2Gay Anonymous says, hey guys, happy holidays. I have a 1989 Conquest TSI.
Nice.
A 1987 RX-7 Turbo race car.
Nice.
And a 2002 Miata Daily. You enjoy driving. Good for you. He has the opportunity to pick up 2 first-gen RX-7s for steel. Should he pull the trigger and then build the best one to replace the Miata Daily?
A first gen RX-7 versus a 2002 Miata?
No. A 20 years older rotary powered daily. Fuck is wrong
I don't think
with
anybody
you?
understands
That's so
how bad
dumb.
the gas mileage is on a first gen rotary. It's got like a Holley 650 carb on that. It just dumps fuel and oil. It's really not, and you have so much better drivability on the 2002 Miata.
Like if you want a fun weekend toy and you're into rotaries, like, and you can get 2 project cars for nothing, like turn 2 into 1, and then you've got a fun little car. But like, I wouldn't ditch a reliable daily driver with modern engine management for a
and
fucking
air conditioning
rotary.
And,
Get out of here, dude.
Well, reliability too.
No,
I mean, if you got a daily, that Miata's bulletproof.
Dailies need to work.
It's like a hammer.
Yeah, dailies need to work.
First gen RX-7 is a fun car, not daily.
Dailies need to work.
Yeah, he already has a rotary race car, so
yeah.
Where did he? Sorry, I did the thing where it jumps ahead.
Wow, there's a lot. I don't know if we're gonna get to all these guys. We got a lot going on. Cut it off, folks. We're gonna have to jump to priority.
We'll have to save these. We can go by price.
Go by donate. We'll just be greedy today.
Yeah.
In the spirit of the holidays, we're gonna go in order of donations.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Yeah.
What was the press car that you moved into the most? I don't understand what that means.
What does that say?
Let's see. Does it rely on the amount of time that you had with it, or what you did with it? I guess. Is there a press car you got more into than you expected because of what you did with it? I don't know.
I mean, usually press cars I just drive around LA and then do some canyon work or whatever. I mean, I suppose when I had the Lotus for like 3 weeks, that became something I kind of like.
Oh yeah, the truck that you moved Hannah with.
Yeah,
it's going to be useful.
Yeah, I literally moved somebody with a truck. No, I mean, there's a lot of people that have these real long-term loans and they really make them their cars. That's never really happened to me. I drive the thing and then I just kind of give it back. Moved into? Not so much. No, I hate to say it. Sorry.
I don't know.
I got a no for you there. I got nothing.
Zachary Machado took your advice, and he skipped getting a 2015 Scat Pack to replace his Mark 6 GTI.
Good call.
Instead, he went with a 2020 WRX Limited. Very happy. Loves the show.
All right, cool. Good for
congratulations,
you.
man.
There you go.
Nice ride.
How many miles are on my M3? Like 115,000 now. If you're doing canyons and occasional track days, just make it reliable. Just do all the do the cooling, do the subframe, and do the hardened cam disc, and that way it won't explode when you do these things.
Yep.
Reliability
works first, and especially if it's an occasional thing, not like dedicated track stuff. Actually, you have to do those anyway.
Even if it's dedicated, you want it to work.
Start with that shit.
Nobody wants an unreliable.
Brake lines help a lot.
Steel braided brake lines.
I did brake lines and pads, and that helped braking a lot.
Steel braided brake lines are a huge improvement, especially if you got a 100,000 mile car. I did it in my Denali that I had, my truck, and it made a huge difference.
It's also a big difference with older cars because Engineering Explained, they did a video comparing the flex of a stainless line versus rubber.
Yeah.
And it was like with modern stuff, it's very minimal. Like they've just rubber tech has gotten a lot better, but with a 100,000 mile car or a car from like, early 2000s or before, it definitely makes a bigger difference.
And it's not an expensive. It's not an expensive mod usually either.
No.
We did those. That was one thing on the Fiesta ST I would do again. Yeah. I did them on the Focus RS as well, and on the Mustang, and I think possibly on my 911. No, I don't think on the 911.
Yeah, your Baja's got steel braided brake lines on it.
It does?
Yeah.
The Safari does?
Yeah.
All right. It does. There you go. You'd fucking know better than I do. I don't know.
Let's jump. Let's see. Heavy Junk Ops. Thanks for watch advice. He loves his Eterna Contiki.
Oh, the Eterna Contiki. After Carl died and everyone started watching, I started sharing the video of Carl Ruins Everything. There's a big run on the Eterna Contiki, which was Carl's favorite $1,000 watch. And I saw one of them yesterday at Cars and Coffee. Yeah, Paul was wearing one.
I love that bracelet.
It's got the mesh bracelet. It's nice. They call it the shark mesh
Yeah.
bracelet. Yeah, the Eterna Contiki is the one with the mesh, fourth over from on the top row, that one. And that says,
I honestly think part of the appeal
$1,600, but you can actually get it for like $1,000.
Paul said he got his from Australia.
He said Australian
price.
eBay was where he got it. But it's
I honestly think
cool
part
watch.
of that is just fun to say that you have it.
An Eterna Contiki.
I have an Eterna Contiki.
It's a good watch.
What do you have? Rolex?
Wow.
Okay, yeah, but Contiki.
Denver Palman just threw us $50 and says thank you. That's a huge thank you to you too, dude.
Holy shit.
So the Kentucky guy, I said he currently is in Connecticut. He has a 2013 RS5, looking to move up to the GT coupe level, looking for used under 70 grand, weekend road trips between Connecticut and New Hampshire. He does that year round.
GT?
What does he have, an RS5?
Has an RS5.
And he wants to move up to the GT coupes for $70K.
He wants to move up a little
Aston
bit.
Martin.
He wants to move up the GT coupe level. So he wants to keep a Grand Touring coupe,
Vanquish S.
but get something a little, well...
So you can get into a Vanquish, and it'll be pretty
911.
nice, but the gearbox will suck.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of 911 for $70K.
And that's better because if he drives up to New Hampshire in the winter...
Snow tires on 911?
Yeah.
Very good.
Real good.
So 911's the most well-rounded car you can buy for $70,000. So I work there. You can buy a lot of last-gen V8 Vantage for $70K. A great one.
Even in manual.
A great one with a stick. You can buy a nice used Bentley GT for $70K.
Yeah.
You can buy a ton of SL63 for $70K.
Yeah.
A ton of it.
But that's the ugly years.
No, you could probably get... For less than 70, you could probably get the end of the old ones.
You could do the CL63.
CL63s for $70K.
Yeah, that's a lot of car.
Yeah.
Way under $70K.
Mm-hmm.
And with snow tires, it would do well because it's heavy.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite of all those is still probably would be a 911 or a V8 Vantage with a stick. End of the run V8 Vantage with a stick would be very fun.
Can't think of what else.
That's a bunch of options.
Yeah.
Good options, yeah.
Or you can go classic and get like a 928 GTS or something like that. Go old school. Classic Benz.
Too much anxiety for
an 850 CSI with a manual.
Or get an S7, even though it's not a coupe. I think they just look awesome. They look like coupes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kay McLesh says thank you. He threw us a bunch of money. Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Group FBC says any reason the last couple live shows didn't appear on YouTube as upcoming events prior to going live?
Yeah, this one and the last one, we only created the events like 10 minutes before doing the show. That's why. Because it typically, if we have a guest in studio, we'll make the show and say the show starts at 5. Because it's been Christmas and because it's just been us, we didn't make them ahead of time.
True.
That's our bad, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. We'll try to do that. It's a thing that happens more when there's guests coming in. But we're going to make the effort to do that. I think one of the things we're talking about for 2020, Zach and I just was discussing things that we're going to do next year. And I think it seems like the consensus is that we are going to split the podcast into a separate channel from the regular car review videos. And that it seems that in my wisdom was we spent a lot of time growing the main channel to a big one, and why wouldn't you just serve all those people all the content that you make? But it seems like there's more algorithm-y shit involved in it, and it seems that possibly splitting the podcast into a separate channel may serve the viewers' needs a little better. And so I guess that just sort of is what it is. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be, I think, part of the plan for the beginning of next year. I think. Yeah. It seems like it God, it'd be such a fucking pain in the ass, but it seems like it's probably the right thing to do.
The gut math says that's probably the thing to do. We're going to think about it and talk to people a little bit more to see if there's a reason to not do it. But, I mean, if you look around the rest of the landscape, there's, Hoonigan, they split their things off. Yeah. Joe Rogan split their things off. Like, a lot of people are just dividing it. So that way people can get the content they want on the channel they want. And if they don't want to watch podcasts and have their inbox flooded, they don't have to. They can get it on iTunes instead. But their YouTube can stay just car review stuff. It just kind of simplifies things for you guys. And I think it's better for our algorithmic play game.
Yeah, allegedly, according to some people, but certainly not a full consensus. But when I talked to several different experts, I talked to some people at YouTube. I also talked to like Doug and Freddie and Rob Freddie and Ferretti. I talked to both. And some say that when you have a lower viewed video like a podcast, it sometimes it messes up the algorithm and they serve ads and recommended videos based on your channel's like average view count. So when you've got car reviews in the hundreds of thousands, but podcasts that are just in the thousands, it messes it up. And so there may be.
It may also be why if our fans sign in and they don't see us in their recommended videos, it's like, well, the last video we put up got 5,000 views, but it was a podcast.
Yeah.
So they won't be seeing the recommended video for 720S or Porsche or whatever, M5, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct. So I think that's the plan. And so I hope it works out, and I might make everybody subscribe to a new channel who wants to get the podcast. But I hope that it'll, I don't know.
It's fine. It'll take them 2 seconds, and then they're done with it forever.
And then they're done with it forever. So we'll figure that out soon enough.
All right. Piper says they're moving back to the U.S. in 2021 from the U.K. Would it be worthwhile to buy a Celica ST205 to drive in the U.K. for a few years and then bring it to the U.S. to sell for profit? Or do you think they'll depreciate by then?
So Celica ST205 is the homologation rally car. Some call it the All-Track, some call it the GT4. I think it's a much better car than the first gen GT4. I drove one. It was very fun. I think when you talk about to make a profit is not what I would do. I think your shipping costs and import duty into the UK is going to be a challenge. And I think, did they make this car in left-hand drive? They did, right? Or is it only right-hand drive?
Only right-hand drive.
They didn't sell it in any left-hand drive countries? Was it only England, Japan?
Yeah, let me see.
I don't know if you can get this thing in left-hand drive, but you're going to buy one in right-hand drive, I think you're going to have a problem making a profit in the UK. If you can only get them right-hand drive, that's a different story, and I don't know. The one I drove was right-hand drive, but if you want to drive a Celica All-Track in the UK, I think you can buy a nice one, drive it, enjoy it, and lose a minimal amount of money, and then decide if you want to bring it home with you. And if you do, you ship it home, and then you watch the market, and it is what it is. I would remove the word profit from your plan and accept that as a possible eventuality, but you should buy the car in England that you want to be driving when you're in England. That's what I would say. Anything else before we get out of here, Zach?
Let's answer Jeff's question. Because he doubled up. Hope you have a great New Year. He has a Volkswagen Mark 7 GTI. He drives about 30 to 40,000 miles a year. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
What do you think of the new Mark 8? Should I get it or something else? He also saw your Countach at the car show and was blown away.
Thank you. I haven't driven the Mark 8. Have you driven a Mark 8 Volkswagen Golf?
No.
Vinny's nodding. Have you?
Yeah.
When did you drive a Mark 8?
Didn't Chris Morat have one?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he does. I have no idea. Were you out with him?
I thought he had. He just got the. Oh no, he just got the limited edition. Who's your? What was Chris Harris driving? The green one.
That's
still a 7?
a Golf. Yeah, that was 7 Golf R. That was Maz's Golf R. Yeah, dude. I'm sorry that I have no answer for you. I have not driven a Mark 8 GTI. Is it different?
I'm thinking if he's doing 30, 40,000 miles a year in a Mark 7 and he's happy with it, I would think the Mark 8's going to be just as good.
I don't think it would be worse.
No,
right?
But also if you're driving that much, if you buy a new one, it'll depreciate so fast because the first year he's putting like you're out of, well, not out of warranty depending on the warranty, but like you're racking up 80,000 miles in 2 years. That's a lot.
Was there an alternative question to have we driven the Mark 8? Because I just haven't.
No.
I bet it'll drive just like a GTI. It'll be very good at all the things that they're good at.
Yeah,
so
there's not a massive difference from 6 to 7. I don't think there would be a massive difference from 7 to 8 either. It's not like it's still a 2.0T, right? It's still the same DSG, and it's
none of that's new.
All that shit's the same, right? It's like a facelift, basically, right? Is it a whole new car or a facelift? It's basically a facelift, right? New tech, maybe? Can I see what it looks like? Does it look basically the same? I mean, yeah-ish. Yeah, this is not a revolution.
Headlights a little angrier.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to drive one. I should help Volkswagen. I'd like to drive one.
They're really good cars.
New headlamps.
They're doing everything.
New front fascia, new rear fascia.
I was so turned off to Volkswagen after Volkswagen in Santa Monica tried to sell Hannah a $36,000 GTI with a straight face right after Dieselgate. Fuck out of here. All right. I think that's our show for today, folks. Is this going to be the last show aired in 2019, or is it going to air after the 1st?
This is going to air Thursday.
So it'll air Thursday the 1st or 2nd. Thursday the 2nd, huh? Well, Happy New Year, folks.
Thursday the 2nd.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
That's it. We spent all time talking about this year. No, we didn't. We talked about all kinds of random shit. Yeah. I hope you all continue to follow us until we decide to retire.
For another 10 years.
Onto our new channel. If we make that happen, which I do believe we are. Shout out to LEGO for paying us to build and discuss their product. I hope I've spoken about it very honestly, and I do enjoy building this stuff. It's pretty rad. It's a fun thing to do with my wife, and we have more shows next week. But what day is it today?
Monday.
It's Monday?
Yeah.
We're going to record later this week after the new year, I imagine. So back to your regularly scheduled programming in 2020. Thanks, everybody. The Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and ideally something to say. Bye.